VGK is on the road without Tomas Hertl, but Kelly McCrimmon says that Shea Theodore will be on the trip for the three-game excursion and should return sometime this week. VGK faces off in Minnesota on Tuesday afternoon. Our preview comes your way next on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. We've got, of course, Locked On Golden Knights at night. Tony Cardasco, longtime sportscaster, marketing consultant, and host of the new Believe in Vegas podcast, along with Chris Golick, the collectibles editor for the Hockey News and the owner of Silver State Cards and Sports. Thank you so much for making us your first listen each and every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. Coming up on today's show, we'll also be talking more about Tomas Hertl, who's in the house right now. Tomas Hertl is here in the house because he's not on the road with VGK. And we'll also have our locks of the night and predictions. A manageable road trip, right, Chris, for VGK ahead.
Gametime.
Oh, that's right. Download the Gametime app today. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. What time is it, Golick?
Gametime.
Okay. A manageable road trip, not a manageable podcast, but a scheduled podcast tonight. A manageable road trip for VGK ahead. Yesterday, Kelly McCrimmon, or I should say on Monday, Kelly McCrimmon said that the on State Run.
That's yesterday.
Yeah, okay. On State Run, that Hertl is still being tested to determine the severity of the injury, which shows you that he's injured. And now how severe is that injury? And then you lose Hertl, you gain Shea Theodore on this trip, perhaps. Theodore returns, and does he bump Hanifin as the QB of the power play? What sort of changes can we expect with Hertl out of the lineup, Shea Theodore coming in?
Good questions. I think William Karlsson will slot up to the second line, number one, right between Saad and Dorfiev. We'll see how that plays out. And then the biggest question, are they going to keep Nicholas Waugh on that fourth line, or are they going to slide him up and then Brett Howden back down? Nicholas Waugh is good on the fourth line as the center because it creates a lineup mismatch. Nicholas Waugh and now Victor Olofsson possibly has a fourth line with Kolesar, of course. With those four players, it's a very strange dynamic for other teams to have to prepare for. Brett Howden's had success in the middle, and I wouldn't be surprised if they gave Howden a shot on that second line. Remember, we're talking about Brett Howden. As crazy as this is what I'm about to say here, we're talking about a 19 goal scorer version of Brett Howden, who's also a plus 11 with 14 assists. So he's playing very responsible right now. So a case could be made simply to move up Brett Howden, move Olofsson from the fourth line to the third line. Tanner Pearson comes back in, and off and running the team goes right there. That might be the more logical way, honestly.
On Tuesday, the face-off time here in Las Vegas will be at 5 o'clock. That game in Minnesota, the Wild currently yes, we definitely like the early games. Wild in 7th place in the Western Conference standings, a surprise team that this season has had to do it for a bulk of the way without the services of Kirill Kaprizov. He is out still, and there is no timeline for his return. Missed 12 games earlier. He came back. He's only played now, I think, in 37 games on the season, out since January the 26th, but he still has 52 points, which is pretty amazing. Also out Joel Eriksson-Ek and Marcus Foligno for this Wild team, which is struggling a little bit. They're in a playoff position, but I got to tell you, they've done a terrific job, and John Hines has done a really good job managing this club.
like you said, Wild holding on pretty comfortably to a wild card one, although it looks like they're not going to gain any
I see
points
what
there.
you did there. A wild card. I got you.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Holding on to the first non-top 3 divisional spots. There we go. Are the Minnesota Wild 85 points, 70 games played. It'll be 1 game in hand on the Blues after tonight's game. Colorado 89, Dallas Stars soon to be 94 points likely, Winnipeg Jets 100. So really the Wild's best. Could they catch Colorado? Maybe, but they've been playing pretty well down the stretch. 8-1-1 their last 10, so I don't see that happening. Minnesota Wild 6-3-1 3-game winning streak. That's likely about to come to an end in about the next half hour here. Where we're going with this is that the Golden Knights, should they win the Pacific Division, first round opponent would be the Minnesota.
Yeah.
Marc Andre Fleury and the Minnesota Wild. So a lot of emotion right there. There's no team you want to play in the playoffs. Like, let's be clear about this. You don't look and say, oh, the Blues are the easy out. Well, remember last time the Blues kind of came in and got hot late in the regular season? Remember what happened? They won that Stanley Cup, right after the year after the Golden Knights made the Stanley Cup final. So you never count anybody out. There's no easy outs. I mean, do you want to play Winnipeg? Do you want to play Dallas? Do you want to play Colorado? Do you want to play Vegas, LA, Edmonton, Minnesota, or the Blues? No. You hope the Canucks and the Flames sneak in there.
Yeah, for sure. And so we will see a matchup between Adin Hill and Marc Andre Fleury, because Gustafsson, as you said, in net at Dallas last night, or on Monday night as we are watching the game. First meeting, 4-1. What music do you have on there?
It's violin practice for my daughter right now. I keep trying to mute.
Oh no, it's okay. No, it's okay. No, I like the musical. No, keep the music running.
They asked if they can practice while we record. I said, yeah, no problem. It sounds better than Tony's voice.
It's much better than me and anything I say. Okay, so VGK 4-1 winners in the very first meeting on that eruption of 3 third-period goals. Hertl, Pavel Dorofeev, and Kolesar. I had a question about Dorofeev, since we're on at night. He doesn't speak English, correct?
He does, and
how come he's never interviewed?
So I remember I was driving after I did like a card shop run or something like that on the west side of town.
I did hear him interviewed. I did hear him.
I'm being set up.
No. Come to think of it, I did. No, there was a radio interview.
Dan Duva, yeah. Duva had him on a pregame. Yeah, and he was good. Like, he sounded fine. Like,
he's okay.
He's fine. I don't understand why not. I mean, or put him with the translator.
Well, does he have a translator? That was my question.
Yeah, Ivan Barbashev.
Oh, it is. Okay.
I don't know. I'm just assuming. I mean,
well, that would be kind of cool. I think that would be great.
I'd love to hear what he has to say. He's an interesting dude. I
think so too.
I've lightly talked to him in the locker room before. He's fine to engage with. Like, you know,
I think that's great. No, that's cool. I was just asking because I forgot about the radio interview. I did hear it myself, and maybe he's just very conscientious about speaking and trying to speak English, and maybe someone can translate for him. How does he get along? How do they communicate with him? That would be a pretty interesting story. So again, you think that Karlsson moves up to the second line. Any other lineup changes? Does Olofsson stay in?
I mean, Olofsson on the fourth line is a waste, even though it's a strange hybrid type of line with Nicholas Waugh, Olofsson, and Kolesar. I don't like Olofsson as a fourth line left winger for a long period of time. We saw how Brendan Brisson, how that worked out, right? That was not a very good experiment for very long. I don't think Olofsson will do a whole lot better, even though he's got the experience and everything. I don't look at Olofsson as the in-your-face, shut-down, stout type of player. I mean, knowing Cassidy, he probably goes with the experience because Karlsson is plug and play anywhere in this lineup. We know that's Brett Howden, Dorofeev, and Saad. I don't know how much experience they have together. Karlsson and Dorofeev and Saad at least have Carlson and Dorofeev have plenty of familiarity. They've been on a line together a lot last year, as Howden has. I mean, the more I'm trying this on for size, honestly, I think you elevate Howden to the second line center between Saad and Dorofeev. You have some defensive responsibility. You bring Olofsson from the fourth line to the third line, taking Howden's spot. So now that third line is Carlson, Smith, and Olofsson. And then your fourth line is Nicholas Waugh, Colasar, and would it be Pearson? I think Lavoie is hurt right now, so probably Pearson would come back. So we're going Pearson, fourth line, Olofsson going up to the third line, Howden centering the second line with Hertl. Or instead of Hertl, pardon me.
For Minnesota, you definitely have to mark Matt Boldy, 60 points for the Wild. I was just watching. They did a feature on him in the Dallas game. And again, this is a team that I believe, will try to tighten up the ice as much as possible because they might be a little bit leg weary again, tail end of the back-to-back, having to travel back from Dallas to the Twin Cities late at night. Makes no sense.
Having fun with this, Tony. You're just having fun.
No, and people think that I'm kidding or joking about it. It's
VGK's been on the right side of the last two back-to-backs. Let's be clear about this.
Okay. Were they both at home?
Well, no, but the Golden Knights are right now the Golden Knights are in Minnesota waiting for the Wild to arrive right now.
Yeah.
So and then the Golden Knights had the two home games in a row where Tampa had to go through Utah first.
Right. So I'm saying that the schedule is rigged. So you agree with me for once. Coming up next, Tomas Hertl is out for this road trip. At the very least, there's a lot of concern now about whether or not Tomas Hertl will even make it back here for the rest of the regular season. We'll get into that as we return right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. You definitely want to check out FanDuel. That is America's #1 sportsbook. Of course, when the game tips off, you definitely can get into all the action and you can check it out. March Madness is here at America's #1 sportsbook. It's the place where you can get the live bets throughout the game, or even if you miss the opening tip-off or you want to bet on a second half comeback, if it's college, fourth quarter comeback, if it's the NBA, you can do so. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay. I definitely do like FanDuel's live betting features because they keep you in the game throughout. And it's just been real interesting here in the NCAA tournament because the lowest remaining seed is a 10 seed. That's Arkansas. So it's been a little bit top heavy and a lot of chalk is coming in. So check it out there. And right now, FanDuel customers get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com. Join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. We are also brought to you today by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that is both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a very good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they are packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help to keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I do like the no shells variety, and it is the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a little pick me up and a quick protein boost, they are always my go-to. And if you really love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell option is a classic favorite. So check it out. No shells, Wonderful Pistachios for that grab and go ease. The satisfying crack of opening up each shell. It's like snack mediation. Wonderful Pistachios are the snack that works as hard as you do. So get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. It's Wonderful Pistachios. Go to wonderfulpistachios.com. Get crackin'. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick, and I was thinking of something that's without its shell, and that might be Tomas Hertl the Turtle. He's lost his shell, right? So they're trying to figure out how they can get that apparatus back on him. So Tomas Hertl, you like that, huh?
No.
A valuable contributor for the Vegas Golden Knights, and I felt as though Jack Eichel was the number 2 star of the week. How come Tomas Hertl wasn't in the top 3? 4 goals in the last 2 games, a couple of hat tricks there on the homestand. I mean, he is just cooking. And unfortunately, he sustains that injury in the game on Sunday. And now it's very questionable. His status is questionable. And I saw fans just throwing stuff out there on Monday saying, yeah, it's not too serious, but he was in a lot of pain coming off. It could be anything from that shoulder area to a collarbone to a wrist. Who knows? But it did look pretty serious. And evidently, it's serious enough to where they're talking about, well, what is the severity of this injury? It appeared as though it's a broken wrist or some sort of a hand injury. But
a shoulder, hand, upper body, right side. I mean, it's certainly all one or all the above. I mean, it's definitely something along those lines. Someone mentioned something about shoulder and made a compelling case. Whatever it is, I mean, maybe if it's a shoulder, maybe it's a Mel Gibson thing. Pop it back in and give it a few days, and life is good. I don't think it's going to be that good, unfortunately. Coach Cassidy, I mean, you're not going to get much from him in the post game. He does not like being asked about injuries. That was an off the record question I had with him. An off the record conversation I had with him once. He doesn't like being asked about injuries. He's not going to give you anything. He likes the competitive advantage that, being secrets about, having the secrecy around injuries and stuff like that. It's all BS, but that's how most of the NHL teams approach that. But listening to Cassidy talk, there was something more to it. He knew right away that something didn't look good. Probably initial x-ray came back not good. He knew that. Kelly McCrimmon on the Insider Show today, like we said, he mentioned that Hertl is not traveling and can be reevaluated. Okay, why are they reevaluating him? What are they looking for? They know exactly what's going on. This is now GM and coach speak, trying to protect the situation.
Typically, right? It's typically, sorry to interrupt there.
No, you're good. You're fine.
No, but it is typically a situation where surgery or not, when they're doing like the second evaluation, I would guess.
Yeah, and if it's surgery or not, I mean, it's either way, it's bad. And I guess the main thing is, is this something that maybe can heal and you play through it with some type of greater injury risk in the near future? Could immediate surgery give Hertl a window to get back, let's say, by the 3rd round of the playoffs? And even if that happens, even if you rush him back, now this is different than a leg injury and everything, but you're talking a player coming off of a shoulder or a hand injury. One of his greatest assets, besides all of his power points, all the good things he's done this season, is his ability to win faceoffs. I don't know if Hertl takes another faceoff for the rest of the season if he draws back into a game right now. So even if Hertl comes back, he is going to be a lesser version of himself possibly than he was in last year's Stanley Cup playoff. At least in last year's Stanley Cup playoff, he had a running start. I think he started playing April 1st, somewhere plus or minus. So he had a window of, I think it was 7 games, if not mistaken. So at least he got some legs under him, whatever they were at the time. And now you're talking someone who's going to be basically playing on one arm. That's not a good recipe. So say it again.
Yeah,
we talked about this in yesterday, Monday's show. The question was, are the Vegas Golden Knights the Stanley Cup contender? And I said that was a lot easier to answer before the Hertl injury. Before the Hertl injury, yes, 100% bona fide Stanley Cup contender. If Hertl is out for greater than 1 round of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, this is not a Stanley Cup roster anymore.
70 games, 59 points, 31 goals. That 31 goal mark, it's the most since he's had 35 in 2018, 2019 with the Sharks.
Not a good team, of course. And the Sharks were a better team then.
They were a really good team back then. Where VGK might miss him, you talked about faceoffs, but moreover, they're going to miss him so much on the number 1 power play unit, 14 power play goals. And there's a lot of concern that's going to be growing about how VGK will compensate without Hertl on the power play unit.
Options. First of all, it's not going to be William Karlsson. Karlsson will stay in the center of that second line.
The second line, right?
On the second line, play? Yes. Yeah. Karlsson will stay on the second power play units. So basically, you have three options. You have Ivan Barbashev, who's got plenty of chemistry with Jack Eichel, can play that heavier role in the center slots.
Needs to get in the slot.
Yep. You got Olofsson, who can stay on the elbow and be another shooting option on that right-hand side.
Or you front presence here is more likely for Cassidy.
Or you go for Brandon Saad, who I think
you might like Saad a lot in that situation, huh?
I think it's a creative option should they not think Barbashev is ready to take that on. I don't know. I'll pull up Barbashev's stats right now, but I would guess he has a very small handful of power play goals, if any, on the season.
Yeah.
Honestly.
What is it? I'm going to guess 2 and a hook.
It's probably a good number. Ivan Barbashev has 2 power play goals this season.
2.
He's got 2 power play goals. So
I said 2 and a hook. So
we're going to shift to Brandon Saad and kind of see what career-wise he has done as far as, okay, so I got Brandon Saad's hockey reference up here. Power play goals, he hasn't had
not many,
one in the last 3 seasons. Well, okay, this is with all the different stuff with the Blues right now. So throw this out. Going back to, what am I looking at here? All right, power play goals for Brandon Saad, 5 in the 23-24 season, 2 22-23, 8 21-22. I don't know if this is a good option either. I mean,
yeah,
on paper I like it, but the results aren't there. So Barbashev might get the look. Honestly, Barbashev might get the look.
You're going to have to put Stone in the bumper. I think
Stone's in the bumper already, though. I mean,
I know, but he's
and the other option is Stone kind of takes Hertl's role.
Correct. That's what I was thinking.
And now you got Olsen to take the spot
because you're going to have somebody going down below the goal line the way that they've been operating on that power play.
The problem is if you put Stone in the bumper, now you're going to have likely Olofsson getting that look on the first line. Olofsson and Dorofeev as the elbows isn't a great idea because they're both left-handed shots.
They're both lefties.
So that's another concern. And Stone is not an elbow option either. I mean, he's more below the goal line, net front presence already.
Right. And right now, Hertl could have an elbow injury. You're talking about elbows. Coming up next, we've got our locks of the night and our predictions. Don't go away. Back with more right after this on Locked On Golden Knights. There is nothing like watching basketball live, the energy of the crowd, the sound of the sneakers on the hardwood, and maybe even a celebrity sighting or two courtside. If you want to catch a game in person, Gametime makes getting tickets even easier than ever. Of course, you could pick up tickets for the Final Four. The NBA is in full swing. Gametime's new feature, Gametime Picks, it filters out all the fluff, and it shows you only the best deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time scrolling through thousands of tickets. And there's very easy ticket shopping. I just checked the Gametime app. There's amazing deals on some huge matchups coming up. Gametime Picks even highlights super deals, giving you the best bang for your buck. With Seat Views, I really like this. It gives you peace of mind. Before you buy, there's no surprise fees and the lowest price guarantee, so you can book with total confidence. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets today with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use that promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account, use the redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. That is LOCKEDONNHL. Download Gametime today. What time is it, Mr.
Game time.
Welcome back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. And don't forget, we've got on Fridays, WTF with the Friday, Saturdays, sometimes it is the Chris Times Chris Jr. show. So it is time for our locks and predictions. And I am going to go. So there were 2 goals that we saw early in that Dallas game, but they had to really work for those. Johnston, how old is he? 21. Yeah, and Duchesne, I think, scored goals. I'm going to go Minnesota 3-2. 3-2. I just think they might just try to tighten up the zone there, and I think they're going to try to play keep away to some degree. I'll take Dorofeev and Stone, and maybe an assist that goes off the pipe, off of Stone's noggin, and then into the net. So I think that could be the play that we're looking for. Can I book that on FanDuel? This is, one thing that I did find out in watching some of the stages of that Dallas-Minnesota game on Monday night. A bad face-off team. You talked about Hertl, how good he is in the dot, but this is a bad face-off team, and VGK should be able to take advantage. They are just 50% in the dot or less for Minnesota, for the Wild. So you need to win those O-zone faceoffs if you're VGK. Some good goaltending. Again, you have the Marc AF factor because we're going to see Marc Andre Fleury between the pipes there, and he's going to want to win. He'll want to beat VGK, I still believe. And this is a matchup of an opening round playoff series as it stands currently. And you always find teams that perhaps want to have the upper hand. But I just think it's a bigger game for Minnesota if their legs can hold up there in the third period. I'm taking Minnesota 3-2.
I think Vegas dominates in this one. I've been watching the game the entire third period while I've been recording, and Minnesota doesn't have it. And maybe they'll have it tomorrow night. Maybe this is just a scheduled loss, Tony. There's the scheduled loss. There's the new buzz card. I mean, maybe this is the scheduled loss. Golden Knights have had good success, I believe, against Marc Andre Fleury since he left Las Vegas, at least on the Wild side. I think they've chased him from at least one game, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone out there in the Twitter world. So I think Vegas dominates. I know I'm kind of talking out both sides, given my perspective on the Hertl injury and what that means long term. But I think the Golden Knights come together. I'm going to go 5-1. 5-1 Vegas. Olofsson, Dorofeev.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see how this shakes out because it should be a pretty interesting game, and let's see how VGK reacts to the loss of Tomas Hertl, if they can fill gaps, if they're just a one-line team. Once again, we see that every so often for VGK.
It could happen.
They're going to need some depth scoring. Yeah, for sure. And they will win faceoffs. That's a prediction. Okay. More than 52% for VGK. We appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much, of course, especially our everydayers tuning in around the world. And don't forget Friday's WTF. Please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. For my man, Chris Golick, I am Tony Cardasco. This, of course, has been Locked On Golden Knights at night, we should say. And we'll see you again on Wednesday right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And please take care.